I'm Anjali and I run SpringUP, which is a leadership training program for children. And we work in the area of social emotional learning. Well, social emotional learning are basically life skills which are rooted in emotions. So we help children basically understand themselves, their emotions, and how do they manage themselves. We help them understand the perspectives of others and be able to relate to the perspectives of others. And we also help children go through the choices they have and be able to make good social as well as personal choices. So my journey to SpringUP has been a journey of discovery because I'm a journalist by education. So I started with being a journalist, then I moved careers and I started training with corporates. And while working with corporates, I realized that our education system doesn't really equip us for the real world. So we might have fantastic hard skills, but without social emotional awareness, a lot of us are unaware of ourselves. We are unaware of the people around us and the circumstances around us. So we're making decisions with having no idea what we are doing. So basically what I saw was a cookie cutter generation where everyone thought alike. Most people couldn't communicate effectively. Adapting to situations was extremely difficult. Working in teams was extremely difficult. And this left most people very, very frustrated. So is it difficult to learn these skills as adults? It's not impossible, but it's extremely difficult. Because as an adult, you have a lot of unlearning to do. You have a lot of baggage. You have roles and responsibilities and a lot of things going on in your life. So when my children were born, with that thought in mind, my husband and I began to look for schools that would cater to the whole child. And we realized the options were very limited because our education system largely doesn't cater to the whole child. It's IQ heavy, which basically means our schools focus on the 3 R's, which is reading, writing, and arithmetic, and oracy skills. So it's numeracy and literacy. So oracy skills, your ability to interpret a thought, have an idea, express it, communicate it, and bring it alive is largely missing. So one step further, I went into research and I realized that this generation of children require education which is very, very different from ours. Because technology is moving at such a rapid pace, which means we are preparing our children for a future that we have no idea about. So we don't know what type of job they're going to have. We don't know how they're going to live. We don't know how they're going to interact with each other. Which pretty much means change is going to be the only constant, and with change comes emotions. And what we can really equip our children to do is to be resilient, to have grit, and to be able to adapt to change. And along with that, what about our family structure? Our family structures are breaking, and we have double income nuclear families, which means most children don't have basic human contact and social interaction on a regular basis. And most of the social emotional learning happened in communities, which is largely missing now. Add to that excessive screen time, excessive exposure to screen time. Basically, we are raising a generation which is instantly gratified, which means self-soothing skills, which is an essential life skill, is at an all-time low. Add to this AI and automation, which means more and more jobs are going to be taken over by machines. So where does that leave our children? So the children who are going to be successful in the future are the creators, the thinkers, and the problem solvers. But where does education give the space for creativity? Where does creativity come in? Art class, dance class, all of it is extracurricular activities. There's no space for it. And what I found is creativity by itself is art, but creativity when used to solve a problem becomes innovation. And I've also found with children that creativity gives children the space to make mistakes. And mistakes aren't a bug for learning, they're actually a feature of learning. And if used well as a learning tool, it's a great point for reflection, it's a great point to introspect, it's a great point to build perspective, and it's a great point to bloom out as a more stronger person. So based on all of this germinated the idea of a program which would teach children basic skills that they would require when they grow up. And also, how do you teach children these skills? It's boring, it's dry. So there my experience as a mom of twins came into place, and I realized that children learn best when they're having fun and they have the freedom to choose. So the program that we have right now is a program where there's a lot of different mediums of learning. There's a lot of creative space for children to use, and we provide them a non-judgmental environment where they can express themselves, where they can have conversations and share opinions. So currently the SpringUP leadership program is based on the 5 C's, which is communication, collaboration, critical thinking, creativity and consciousness. Consciousness of the self, consciousness of people around us, and consciousness of the world around them. So I'd like to end by saying, I started with a batch of 5 children. Currently we work with about 150 to 200 children across schools and open programs. But the progress has been extremely slow because it's a high human touch program. So scaling up is something that I'm struggling with. So I would definitely love inputs on how I could scale this up. And I'd like to end by saying that all of us take our children for granted, and I think this generation of children are a largely neglected lot. Because all of us adults are busy with our careers, we're busy with our social lives, we are busy with the multitude of things we want to do or we need to do. But investing with time and effort to nurture our children, have good relationships with them, teach them to have good relationships with others is extremely important. Because the children are the future of the world, and no matter how much we invest in cutting edge technology, if we don't invest our time in nurturing the human capital that we don't have a future. I'd like to end with one of my favorite quotes, which says, every child requires a mentor, an adult, who truly believes in them, who understands the power of connection and insists that they become the best person that they can possibly be. And all of us adults can definitely make this happen and make a better world for our children and make them better people as well. Thank you so much.